Am I really that much? And breaking these figures down like a camera. You don't really to throw you out.
So today we're going to talk about the power of owning your voice, owning your words, owning your truth, being able to project your truth confidently, being able to speak about things that matter to you, being able to shed light on the issues that you care about, being able to be boldly vocal about the causes that you care about. So why should you listen to me? I'm no expert. I say this a lot. I am a big believer of the Bible as a tool for life strategy. So I do study my Bible to understand how to help me navigate life. I also study psychology, but this doesn't mean I'm an expert. However, I feel like one of the greatest teachers is experience. I went from being either too timid or too confident, never being able to find the middle in between as a child, to overcoming my fear of public speaking and essentially delivering the graduation speech at my graduation ceremony. So I guess that's why you should listen to me or not. Yeah, let's get into this video.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I foremost thank God for making this day, 20th July, a possibility. I thank the graduation team for giving me the opportunity to speak. More importantly, I thank the entire faculty for their dedication with us over the past 3 years. The teaching staff have really accommodated us, put up with our badgering emails and requests, and this has made our learning journey as smooth as possible. I also thank the non-teaching staff for supporting us as well through this journey. Finally, I thank our families and friends for being a pillar of support and our anchor through this difficult but rewarding journey. I believe our cohort is a truly unique one, being that the world was just transitioning out of a pandemic when we started our degree. I dare speak for everyone here that we were terrified how to navigate university life with a blended learning approach. However, what we fed has now set precedents for a somewhat regular university lifestyle, and it's amazing to see that we were pioneers in this academic change. So with that in mind, the final group of people I would like to thank are my colleagues, the entire graduates for pushing through, persevering, being resilient, and today we are able to celebrate our remarkable achievements. When I first moved to the UK to study, I was terrified of the big change in my life. During my course as well, there were so many obstacles I faced, being financial, emotional, and physical health too. But all of these have helped me become stronger and more resilient. However, this is just my story. Today, there are many other graduates here, which each with their personal unique story that makes this graduation much more than the certificate. This journey has truly been a test of faith. It's definitely not been an easy one through Kingston, and I especially thank my mom because without her, I wouldn't be standing here today. Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you, baby.
Also, I'm immensely grateful for this beautiful institution because Kingston University has helped me grow intellectually, taught me perseverance and acceptance, especially when things don't go your way. Because trust me, our grades never went the way we expected. Furthermore, during my time at Kingston, I've had the opportunity to explore different experiences, including being part of a sports club and the African Caribbean Society. Kingston University has also taught me the value of community. And as we graduate today, I feel confident that the impact Kingston has had on each of us will be evident in the real world. So on that note, let's turn the page onto the next chapters of our stories. We've got this. Congratulations, class of 2023.
Said earlier, the first thing is understanding why you want to speak about a topic or an issue, why this matters to you. So for me, when the offer came up to do the graduation speech, I was 95% going to back out. I nearly backed out. But because I had this burning need inside of me to really share my testimony, because my studying in the UK wasn't a very smooth journey, it was a very difficult one. Like, it was extremely difficult. So I initially started my first degree, and there was a lot of bumps, financial hardships. Things just didn't go as expected or as planned. And I found that I was working and studying and I couldn't keep up. I fell ill. Eventually, my student visa got curtailed. I had to start all over again. I had to take a time off, and then start all over again. And I eventually was able to finish. So when the offer came to do my graduation speech, I wanted to back out. But I really said to myself, I feel like I have such a powerful story here to share. And I'm sure there are so many other people with powerful stories to share. Imagine if everyone else was backing out and I was also backing out, and I missed out on the opportunity to share a story that might inspire someone in a way that I don't even know about. So that burning need to share my testimony, and really, not even from a place of ego, more from a place of celebration, like, oh my God, I went through this, I almost gave up, it felt hard, it felt long, I wondered when it was ever going to end, but I eventually saw the light at the end of the tunnel. So that burning need was what pushed me to be like, no, I will find the courage to get over my fear of public speaking, and I would deliver this graduation speech. I put myself forward. I almost backed out a day before. My sister was like, it's too late. You just have to kind of do it now, you'll be fine, So yes, understanding why I wanted to share my story, why it mattered to me. So you need to understand why. What do you need to say? Beyond the fear that is holding you back, what do you have to share with the world? Why do you think what you have to share is important? That is the first step to overcoming the fear. You see the bigger picture, the why, the what, yeah? And then we start to navigate from there. So now this brings me to my second point, which is literally taking that step, right? Being able to push beyond mind over matter, being able to push beyond the fear and think about, okay, I am going to take that step. So again, a bit of backstory in secondary school. In my recent blog, I spoke more about this in details, but just for like a brief overview, if you're not subscribed to my blog, by the way, subscribe to my blog on Substack at Toledo. So yes, a bit of backstory about taking the step. In my secondary school, things were a bit different in the sense that they didn't necessarily appoint prefects. They suggested. So what used to happen was teachers would come up to you if they felt like you were a suitable candidate to be a prefect, but you needed to put your name forward, but they will encourage you. And I had a couple of teachers come up to me, they encouraged me. In fact, I had already been acting as a prefect, so I was like an acting prefect when the current prefect was writing our exams. It was kind of like a ritual in my school. When the senior students are doing their exams, their final exams, the immediate, I was trying not to use the Nigerian terms, but sorry if you're not Nigerian. So when SS3 students are doing their final exams, SS2 students sort of take over. And it was kind of like an unspoken rule of whichever the prefect chose from the younger class to act on her behalf was going to be the next prefect. So I was convinced I was going to be the next hostel prefect. This is called trauma. I'm literally offloading to you guys now. I haven't really spoken about this since it happened to me. Yeah, so I was convinced I was going to be the next prefect because I had already been acting as a prefect. And my teachers came up to me and they said, you make a good prefect, make sure you put your name forward. But the idea of putting my name forward, it felt so cringe. I was just like, I couldn't do it. And you could see on my face that I wanted this. I wanted this badly. When they were calling all the students that put their names forward, when they were calling them for interviews, I was like, oh my God, I just really wish someone would call me, even though I haven't put my name forward. I really wish they'll still consider me. But they didn't, because I didn't speak up for myself. I didn't document the wins and the actions that I had already taken before to prove that I was worthy of leadership. So leadership is not passive, but that's a conversation for another day. But my point for this video is you need to always take that step. So even with your passion to speak about what you believe in, your passion to overcome the fear of public speaking, you need to take that step. There's no other way. You have to keep trying and failing and trying and failing and practicing. The more you practice, the better you get at it. So stand in front of a mirror and practice to yourself. Speak to yourself. What feels cringe when you speak to yourself? What don't you like? Observe, be a third party observer. Observe like you're someone else and critically analyze yourself, critically evaluate what you think you're doing well, what you think you can improve on, So these are some of the ways you can overcome your fear of public speaking, right? So this brings me to my third point. Find people like you, mentors, even if it's from YouTube, from people you know personally, people who have been on a journey as similar as you, that understand what it feels to be in those shoes. So yeah, find mentors that can encourage you, that can support you, and practice with them as well. It's really about building, with everything in life, it's really about building a community, about building your network. Because when you bounce off ideas of people, when you bounce off fears of people, when you bounce off your worries, when you bounce off your thought processes, you start to see that you're not alone. Because sometimes you think that, oh, this is a me problem. But come to think of it, it's an everybody problem. You'll be surprised how much so many other people out there have the fear of public speaking. Even people that have been speaking for years, I can assure you that there are still some people that will come up to the stage and they still feel a bit timid, but once they get into it, they took that step, So yes, you need to build your network with everything that you. And then now to my point number 4 about how to actually overcome the fear. Beyond practicing, beyond speaking to your network, beyond understanding other people's struggles and being able to relate to others, you actually need to tame the fear. What I mean is you need to observe inwardly your body, what you're feeling, and decide what you name it. Essentially, biology doesn't understand the difference between fear and excitement. And sometimes when you're about to speak, it might be fear, genuinely, but you can choose to call it what you want it to feel. And then your brain starts to interpret the biological feelings in a way to something that you've chosen it to be, because you've given it a label. So basically, you're not feeding the fear. That's what I'm trying to say. And then once you've labeled your feeling and named it what you want to be outside of fear, then we go back to our point 1, where you think about the why am I doing this? What's the message? What do I need to pass across? The why and the what. And then instead of going back to your body now, your sensations, what you're feeling, instead of going back to, so this was what I did when I was on the stage. Because when I did get off the stage, at first I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Who do I think I am? I was literally feeling, when your fingers are tingling, that feeling that you feel like peeing, like you want to pee, but it's literally just fear, like your stomach is turning. So you notice all those things, and instead of focusing on those things, you start thinking about, what's the importance of this message? Why do I think people need to hear this? What am I looking to pass from this message? So you start to shift your attention away from what your body is feeling physically, away from the symptoms of the fear, to the what and the why, to the purpose. And remember that you've also labeled the fear as excitement. So now you're gaslighting your brain, literally, to stop being afraid, right? And then let's assume that you've successfully managed to gaslight your brain into thinking that what you're feeling is not fear, but rather excitement, and you're starting to speak. If you miss one word, don't stumble because of one word, right? Don't stumble because you've mispronounced one word or you've said something incorrectly, because what you focus on expands, right? So when you keep shedding on, oh my God, I made a mistake, then your brain is gonna be like, oh my God, we made a mistake. Then your body is gonna be like, oh my God, the brain knows we've made a mistake. Then everything is going to start spiraling. But once you just, I made a mistake, you move on, you continue, right? They kind of tie together. So this brings back to point number 3 about practicing, right? So you just keep going. So that's a way of practicing as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be standing in front of the mirror. You can even decide to be bold. Let's say that the reason why you want to overcome your fear of public speaking is because you want to start making talking head content videos like this. You can decide to record yourself one video. Don't wait until you've done 10 practices in the mirror. Decide to just record yourself now and start speaking, and you miss one word but you refuse to stop. You continue speaking and you keep going. right? So that's another way of practicing. You just keep going. So I think these are the top 5 points that have really helped me: understanding the what and the why, the purpose behind, practicing, speaking with other people, with mentors that have been in similar situations like me, that understand what I'm feeling, that have experienced this, understand how they've navigated as well, and being able to draw lessons from them, and being able to reframe my fear. A bit of a mindfulness practice to say that I refuse to call this fear. And even if my body is feeling these physical sensations of fear, I refuse to focus on it. So these are my top 4 tips. For our point number 5, we already know that this is a Bible believing YouTube channel. So we are going to look into our Bible a bit. We're going to look from the book of 2 Timothy 1 verse 7. And it says that, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." Right? So again, this is this ties to reframing your fear, like choosing to accept that I am not afraid. And even if I feel afraid, I choose not to dwell on it. But it's a bit more intricate than that. It goes a bit deeper beyond just saying, I feel fear and I refuse to feel fear again. It's really like it says, God has not given us a spirit of fear. So whatever you're feeling, you're claiming that this is not me, because this is not what God has gifted me. So where is this coming from, right? You're reframing it. But it now goes further to say, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. So you have what you're replacing. Earlier I said replace the fear with excitement. But now even 2 Timothy 1 verse 7 is saying to replace the fear with something more, the power of your voice. Remember at the start of the video, I said the power of your voice, the power in what you have to share, the power of your words, the power of what you carry here. Use it, right? Of power of love. I did say as well to think less about how you're feeling and more about who needs to hear this. Why does this message need to be passed across? So that's pure love to share, to inspire. And of a sound mind, you're whole in yourself, you're complete. You understand who you are, you understand the power that you carry in your voice, and because of that soundness of mind, you're choosing to speak boldly. So essentially, girls, what we need to remember is, as we step into this season of being able to speak our truth boldly, to own the power of our voice, we need to understand that you don't wait for you to overcome the fear first. You don't suddenly overcome the fear. What happens is that you start to practice, you start to speak, and then the fear slowly fades away in the background, and before you know it, it becomes nothing. Fear? What are we talking about? Trust me, if these videos come to you and you want to get into public speaking, or even if it's just for content, you have to keep practicing, keep showing up, keep focusing on the impact, keep focusing on the value that you have within you, that the world deserves to see, that the world think about how much you would inspire others when you overcome this fear of public speaking. Fear is not yours, it's not from God, but the grace to impact, the grace to inspire, the grace to speak to people and people listen, that is a God-given gift, that is a God-given talent, and we are not going to let our talent instead we're going to let it shine. Do you understand? So essentially, yes, keep shifting your focus from yourself to the impact that you want to share, that the impact that you want to make, the legacy that you want to leave behind. I feel like I talk a lot about legacy on my YouTube videos. I feel like this is such an archival. The channel is beyond just a YouTube channel for me. It's like an archive of my thoughts. I imagine 20 years from now, when I think about legacy, what I think about is like 20 years from now, if YouTube is still up and running, if it's not down, I come back and I'm like, oh yeah, I said that. So sometimes that's what you should think about as well. Just don't focus on the short-term moment. Think about the long-term. That if I did this, how will I feel when I look back a year from now? How will I feel when I look back 5 years from now? But if I let fear hold me back, how would I know what I could have achieved? Do I even know the doors that this can open for me because I've taken that step? So yes, I know that when I did give my graduation speech, I know how that much changed me. I know how not only changed me, but I know how the doors that it opened for me. I can't believe that I have been filming in the spirit of being authentic. I've been filming my video from the start to the finish, and literally while I am about to close, I've just realized that my turtleneck wasn't done properly. Typical Tolu fashion. That's fine. So I know the doors that I opened, the opportunities that I opened for me. because people saw me as someone that is confident. Even though at first it felt like I was faking it, like I was still in my head too much. What are they thinking of me? Oh my God, I hope I'm not being cringe. But what I said earlier about the fear will fade away. Start speaking first, start showing up first, start being first. The more I kept doing it, even though I was having this negative thoughts whispering in my ears, the more they started to fade away in the background. Now I don't even hear them. I don't even care now what people say about me, what people think about me. I don't care now. I don't let fear hold me down. I take the chance, and if if it fails, it's not failure. It's okay. This is a lesson to learn, and then you move on. So sometimes don't focus too much on the perfect outcome. Focus on the journey, the learning process, the curves. I do pray that if you bumped into this video and you're really looking to get over your fear of public speaking, that this is going to be your season of open doors, of power, of strength. Fear is not your portion. Yes, so no more fear in our lives. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video. We will continue the series on owning your power as a feminine woman that is, a well-rounded feminine woman, a woman who is in touch with her faith, our spirituality, our physicality, our mentality, our emotionality. That's not a word. Do you get what I mean? But yes, a well-rounded feminine woman. We'll continue this series on owning your power as a woman, because I do believe strongly in the power of a woman, and this is what this YouTube is here for. Let's learn together. Let's share together. So let me hear your thoughts as well in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys. See you in the next video. Bye.